Hey guys, welcome back to Texas Reloading Room. My name's Justin. Today I want to go over a firearm specific procedure with you, and I realize that this is going to be something most of you already know, but to those new firearms owners out there, this information could be invaluable. Okay, we're going to go over to the bench and I am going to show you the basic field strip procedure for a Glock. Okay, so what you see in front of you is my Glock 22. No, it's not a 22 long rifle. This is a Glock 22, which is the longer grip 40 caliber. So this is a 40 Smith & Wesson. It's designated 22 as their model number. So what else we have on the table here is basically about everything you would normally need to do a basic cleaning on this. Now you can always go one step beyond what I'm talking about, but we'll just get right into it. So first thing we're going to do, drop our mag and clear our firearm, okay? Paramount, always drop your mag, clear your firearm, set your magazine to the side. Next thing we're going to do is, you see there's a notch here and there's one there, so they're on both sides. Now generally what I do is I'll hold the slide up here and I'll push those notches down. So release your slide, it'll move forward, push the notches down, and then dry fire the gun and it will come right apart. So we have our frame there and we have our slide here. For the basic field strip, now this is a Gen 3. Gen 4 will have 2 springs in it, but it's one contained piece. So all you got to do is pull that off at the top there, lay that aside, pull your barrel out, and we're done with our basic field strip. But when I clean a Glock, I go one step further and I will release the striker assembly. So what we're going to use is one of these. Now if you're a mechanic, you might have a nice set. I picked these up. They were four for $4 or 4 for $2 at Harbor Freight. You don't need anything fancy. And the other advantage to this is you can actually use this to scrape carbon off of, like let's say you shoot it a lot, you'll get carbon buildup right here in the corners. So you can just take it and give it a couple quick scrapes. No big deal. But in order to take the striker assembly out of this, you take the frame, and if you look in here, there's a little piece of plastic which needs to be pulled down just like that, and then you can push the plate out. Make sure you don't let that fly off. That's your plunger. So you pull the back plate off, and now you can just push your striker assembly out just like that, and then I will disassemble this. So how you will do that is you will stand your slide up just like that, put that in there with that off to the side, pull your spring down, and be very careful because this retainer is 2 pieces. Okay, there's 2 pieces that retain the spring onto the deal. We will take that off, and then what we can do is just push the striker out of here. And depending on use, yours will be dirty. Mine's actually relatively clean because I just cleaned it 50 rounds ago. To put it back together, you put the striker into the plastic cup, align this with the notch, put it back in there just like that. Put your spring down over it. And now you will compress the spring. And what I do is I'll put one piece of the retainer cup over, slide it around, and then put the other one next to that. You have a fully assembled striker. This you don't have to worry about. It'll get dirty right here, but other than that, it's no big deal. So this is your plunger and your spring. That will go in the small hole here in the corner, just like that. Your striker assembly will go with the striker facing towards the front of the slide in just like that. Now this is the tricky part, and it'll help if you have, I mean, you can use your pick, but usually something bigger will work a little bit better. So I'll just use a little rod here, and I'll push down on that, so that'll set the striker cup underneath there, and then I'll push down on the plunger, and it'll snap right back in. So we're back to your basic field strip, and really quick how I clean this. I mean, you can tell I've got a little bit of dust in there, so I'll just go ahead and brush it off real quick. Normally when I'm doing this at the range, we have an ultrasonic cleaner, so we'll just dip the parts. When I'm at home, I'll give it a little bit of rim oil. Rim oil is a CLP, so it's a cleaner, lubricant, and protector. Give it a little bit of rim oil, and I'll take a toothbrush and just scrub here. I'll scrub the face, the bolt face, and then I'll scrub here like that. And if you shoot your firearm a lot, you might get a little bit of discoloration right here. Usually that'll just scrub away as long as you haven't let it go for too long. And a good example here, this is actually relatively new to me, so I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit of the factory stuff that they put on it from Glock right there. So I'll just use my pick to kind of scrape that away just a little bit. You'll always want to have a towel handy, because once you're done with this, you'll want to wipe that stuff out. I don't use the rim oil as a lubricant. I'll get to that in a minute. So I'll wipe the rim oil away with the dirt. Make sure you clean your face up really nice, and then everywhere you've rubbed, make sure you clean it up. If you're using an ultrasonic, I would implore you to clean your striker every single time. Usually what I do at that point is I'll take it out, I'll clean the striker, and then I'll run a Q-tip up inside of the striker channel and get all that cleaned out too. You do not want moisture in here, especially not oil. It could cause you to have light primer strikes. Generally, the frames do not get too bad. You'll have some dirt that gets in around here and right down here, and every now and then right in here. So I would recommend occasionally cleaning that out as well. Spray a little bit of rim oil in there, give it a scrub, and if you have access to an air gun, you can blow it out. Otherwise, just clean it up the best you can with a rag. On barrels, you have two different options. You can either go with a bore snake or a bore brush. Bore brush is going to be a little bit more difficult than a snake. Basically, bore brush is going to be set up a lot like a T-handle here. Right here, it's going to have a rod, and here, it's actually, the handle will spin so that it allows your brush to engage the rifling and spin the rod as it goes through the barrel. So what you would do, usually how I do these, I'll clean from chamber to muzzle. So I will insert the rod, and then I will screw the brush on, and I will pull it through. That eliminates the possibility of your rod contacting the rifling, which could damage the rifling. A bore brush is basically a piece of cloth with some copper brush, or a bore snake is copper brushes into a piece of fabric, and basically you drop an end down in there and you pull it through just like that. It's stupid simple and easy, really nothing to do. This thing is clean right now, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, now let's talk about your oil points. One of your first oil point when you're putting this back together, let me show you what I'm using real quick. I'm using Frog Lube, which is another CLP. The thing I like about this is it's actually a solid at room temperature. So what you can do is rub your finger around on it a little bit, and you can collect some just like that, and it'll give you much easier access to apply it where you want it. But the first place we're going to apply it to is here near the crown of the muzzle. I am going to rub a little bit in a circle around there, and if your gun's more worn in than this, you'll be able to tell where your wear marks are going to be. Next thing we're going to do top of the chamber here. That's going to be the part that shows through here, but it's also going to be hitting in. It's going to show through here, but it's going to be hitting in here when you're actually cycling your action. So you definitely want some on top of that at the end of the barrel. Next, what you can do is reassemble this, pull it back until it locks. If you're using a liquid oil, go ahead and put some on the guide rod inside of your recoil spring. Since I am using the frog lube, the paste, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this, and I'll show you how to lube that up momentarily. You've got a couple of lubrication points on your receiver here. Right here in the front, your rails need to be lubricated, and it may not look like I'm putting a lot on here, but trust me, the tolerance is tight. So I'll show you. So basically just here and here on the front rails, you're going to spread it along the entire slide when you reassemble it. Okay. And if you look at the back there, we've just got a tiny bit of that lubricant showing on the back. I'm going to wipe that off. Now, if you're using the paste lube like I am, lock your slide back and you'll be able to get access to your guide rod right there. So what I'm going to do is just, I have fat fingers, this will work better for some other people. And if you're having trouble with something like that, I always keep a set of these. So basically I can get down in there, collect some lubricant on my Q-tip, and go down in there and have just a good old time just like that. I mean, these are even good for cleaning the barrels out on 22s, and I'm sure I'll get to that in another video someday. Yeah, always keep some of those around. If you ever go to a gun show, I'm sure there's going to be somebody with these cottontails on their bench. Pick up a couple packs and you're good to go. So yeah, guys, that is the basic field strip and striker disassembly on pretty much every Glock that you'll ever have to worry about. The good thing about Glocks, all their pistols are made with the same parts, excluding obviously the 42 and the 43, but the parts are similar, they're just smaller. So the takedown that I showed you today is going to work for every Glock that you'll get your hands on, and I'm pretty sure they have no intention of deviating from that at all. But yeah, go to your gun show, pick up a bottle of cleaner, pick up a bottle of lubricant. I prefer to have those two be separate. That's just me. Your method may vary. It's up to you. I like them to be separate. Pick up a thing of the cottontail Q-tips. They work great. I use them every single day. But what I could say most of all, especially for guns that you carry, clean them on a regular basis, because I had a customer bring a firearm into the shop not too long ago. It was their carry pistol. The thing was so full of lint and just, you couldn't even see through the barrel. It was so full of garbage from their pocket. That can really cause some problems if you have to draw and use that gun for whatever reason. Make sure they're clean, especially if they're a carry gun. You never know what you're going to have to run into, and you need that thing to be good. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the box below. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you guys watching the next video, but until then, have a great day and be safe out there.